Hey guys, Demon here, and today we are doing Star vs. the Forces of Evil Season 2 full season review in one video. Hopefully. Maybe two. I don't think it will be two, hopefully one, but maybe two. Don't get your hopes up, it might be two. Because it is 22 episodes long if I'm not mistaken, and that's a lot of content. Anyways, let's get started right into episode 1. So, my new wand and Ludo in the Wild. First episode of the second season of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Let's go with my new wand first. This episode, pretty funny. It brings up a question or two. First one, why is Star in the bathroom when Marco's taking a shower? That's a big question. And second one, what does Star think of Marco? I guess we do realize it later on, but I want to know now. But yeah, pretty good episode. It has to do with the spell book. I forgot his name. The spell guy. God damn it, what's his name again? Oh well, you know him. He basically takes the wand to see if it's broken and stuff, and he just looks at it, and it turns out to be kind of broken, and kind of not. It still works, and if you've watched the show, you know why it's broken, and sort of broken. It's overrun with evil magic. It's pretty cool, and pretty funny. And Marco gets dragged into it because he's in there with the towel on, because Marco followed Star after her wand started to fly around. I guess I can see why he did. And then he puts on a bunch of garbage or stuff in Star's closet. I think it would have been funnier if he dressed in girls' clothes, when he did when he was a princess. But anyways, pretty good episode, and we learned a little bit about Star's broken wand. That it's broken, yet it still works, and it has green slime glitter. It kind of looks like glitter, but slime at the same time. So pretty cool. Second one, Ludo in the Wild. This one's pretty funny. Ludo is a scavenger at first, and then he turns out to be a leader. And then he finds the other half of the wand, and he uses it to, well, we don't know what he uses it for yet, because he hasn't used it yet, although, if you watch the show, you know what he uses it for. But yeah, he finds the other half of the wand, and he realizes that he's on Earth, and Star literally abandoned him in space. Kind of rude, Star. I know he's a bad guy, but space? I'm surprised he could live in space. I guess monsters don't have to breathe or eat or drink water. I guess. But anyways, pretty good episode. And by the end, we get this foreboding thing because Ludo finds the wand with Toffee's skeleton hand on it. Or the other half of the wand. It makes a new wand, and it's pretty cool. But anyways, that's the end of episode 1. Let's move on to episode 2. Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Season 2, Episode 2. If I'm not mistaken, it's Candle Curse, and Red Belt. So let's go with Candle Curse first. So, Candle Curse, I can't say curse right. It's a pretty okay episode. It's about Star learning that she has to be a queen, what she does, because she doesn't have any siblings that are older than her. And about Marco, Tom, I guess it's about Tom, and Marco's in there as well. Basically, Marco finds out that the counselor's working for Tom. He goes to quote-unquote fight Tom in a game of ping pong, and if he loses, he's gonna die, even though if Tom actually killed Marco, Star would probably hate Tom 1,000 times more than anything, so if Tom actually did that, he would never get Star back. Just saying. But whatever. And Star gets really depressed, and then she has like a rebellious phase almost, but then Marco and Tom stop her from doing it, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty good episode. I gotta say, the counselor, at first, when he starts talking to Star about, like, future husbands and stuff, was a little bit creepy. if we didn't learn that Tom was behind that, I'd be like, that guy might be a pedophile because that's not what you should talk about the students with. Unless they bring it up, you probably shouldn't talk about that. But yeah, so a little bit creepy, but pretty good episode all in all. And at the end, Marco does help Star. And I had a question, like, would Marco be able to defeat Tom with the monster arm? Now that's a cool fight, man. That's a fight I'd want to see. And then in Red Belt, this is another episode where people have hinted to where like Marco might turn evil because he has these weird dreams, and plus he was wearing a suit. Although I'm pretty sure that was representing his death or something like that, or something similar to that. I don't know, but people say, well, he's wearing a suit in this. That means that he might turn evil like Toffee. Or maybe he is the reincarnation of Toffee, or something similar to that. So much theories on that. Where do I stand? I say it'd be pretty cool seeing evil Marco fight against Star and them. But then again, I don't know, man. Season 4 might be the last season. I don't know if we're going to get in that. But anyways, it's a pretty good episode. Basically, Marco tries to get his red belt. He learns that his sensei is kind of a loser and has an allowance, even though he has his own dojo and should get paid from that. I guess whatever, though. But yeah, he learns that his sensei's a loser and stuff, and he just kind of does that, you know? It's a pretty funny episode, and at the end, he kind of like says he's not a sensei anymore, but then at the end, he still is a sensei, and there's a fat guy in there that you think is fat, but he's actually buff. It's pretty funny. But anyways, on to episode 3, sorry. Star vs. the Force of Evil, Season 2, Episode 3. Star on Wheels and Fetch. Let's go with Star on Wheels first. This episode, pretty average. Pretty funny though at the same time. Basically, it's Marco trying to teach Star how to ride a bike. He lets go of the seat, and Star goes flying for some reason, even though that's not how bikes work, but cartoon logic. So she just goes flying down the street with this bike, and eventually she listens to Marco and pedals backwards, even though her feet weren't on the pedals in the first place. And it probably would have hurt to put your feet on those pedals when they're moving that fast, but cartoon logic. So she puts it backwards, and she stops. And also, Marco has an invisible goat, which is funny. And there's a funny little song in there, too. But yeah, there's an invisible goat, and it leaves, and then Star bikes them all home at the end, I guess. I don't know how she's gonna do that. I guess I've done that once to 2 people, but I had pegs on the front and back of my bike, and it's super difficult to do that and annoying. But I guess Star can do it. And then there's Fetch. This is just a weird episode. It's a funny episode, but really weird. There's a dog from a different dimension, I assume, who wants Star's wand to make her into a normal dog, because all the dogs in her world have problems. It's kind of like that one episode off of Family Guy where they go to the dog dimension. It's pretty funny. And yeah, basically at the end she becomes a normal dog, sort of, with a kind of creepy old lady that just wants to feel love, I guess. I think she's homeless too, but good for that dog and that old lady. Good for them. But anyways, it's a pretty funny episode, and just a weird episode in general. But anyways, let's move on to episode 4. Hey guys, so Star vs. the Force of Evil, Season 2, Episode 4, Star vs. Echo Creek, and Wand to Wand. So let's go with Star vs. Echo Creek. This episode was pretty average, pretty funny. It had a creepy girl in there that steals hair, I guess, but she doesn't cut it off, luckily, because Star would have been bald. It's pretty funny. It's pretty average, though. So basically, she just breaks a cop car, and she uses a lot of sugar on her food, which is really gross, but whatever. But she breaks a cop car, then she runs because she's on the lam. And Marco says, "Oh, you're gonna go to prison for that." Although I think the worst that would happen is she should go to juvie, not prison, and probably not even that. I don't know because it depends on if it's like intentional or not. If it's accidental, I'm pretty sure you don't get that big of a punishment. But if it's intentional, then you might go to juvie. But she didn't do it intentional, obviously. So yeah, so Marco's not right on that aspect, unless she like actually killed somebody or like maliciously murdered people. Because then she could get charged with an adult sentence. But since she didn't, she'd probably only get charged with a child sentence, which means juvie. Although I guess juvie isn't as bad as prison, but it's still pretty bad. But then we have wand to wand. Basically, this is showing the effects after Toffee broke the wand and stuff, and showing that Star's wand is being affected by it. And the more Ludo uses his wand, the more Star's wand's affected by it. So it's a pretty interesting little episode here. And Cloudy, I gotta say, he seems really high at first. That's all I can think about. Is like, Cloudy's high as fuck, man. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting episode. Pretty good episode. But on average, it's just pretty good. But we do see the effects of what Ludo did. And then we see Toffee. The more he uses that wand, the more it goes weird. But yeah, episode 5. Star vs. the Force of Evil, Season 2, Episode 5, Starstruck and Coming Trip, if I'm not mistaken. These two episodes, they're okay. Let's go with Starstruck first. Star meets Nina, I think her name is, and basically she's like an ultimate warrior from Muni, I assume. And we do get to see her in later episodes as well. She's pretty cool, I guess, but she's bat fuck crazy. She's just like cuckoo, cuckoo. It's pretty funny to see. But yeah, like she's crazy. She wants to take over the Earth because she doesn't like freedom, I guess. Because immunity is run by a dictatorship, so she's just like, democracy, what's that? Garbage. Even though democracy is the best system, so far at least, I guess. It gives everybody a chance to vote. Even though you could say corporations have taken a lot of that away, but whatever. Anyways, let's go on to Coming Trip. So this one's all about Star's father coming on a camping trip with Marco and Star. Marco trying to show him a geyser that looks really awesome. And plus, her father falls into it and looks like a baby. That's pretty funny. And Marco's like, "You look fresh out of the womb, almost." That's a gross joke, but it's pretty funny at the same time. But yeah, it's like a pretty funny little thing that they did. Star's dad is actually stronger than I thought he was. Yeah, he never does anything against any of the bad guys for some reason. That's kind of weird. But whatever, I guess. But yeah, it's all about it's like this whole episode about him trying to connect with his daughter even though he's getting too old to do it, sort of thing. And he thinks Marco's dating her and stuff. It's pretty funny. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a pretty funny episode. And kind of gross joke in it. But pretty funny in general. Anyways, episode 6. Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Season 2, Episode 6, Star Sitting and on the Job. This episode, pretty good, I gotta say. Star Sitting, basically Star and Marco playing a game at first, but then watching Butt Frog's babies. Even though it was never really established that they were friends, but I guess they're kind of friends now. And eventually they become more friendly, I guess, at the end. It's kind of funny that he's raising those kids even though they're not really his kids. Because Toffee just kind of gave him kids that he took from somewhere. I don't know, that's just kind of funny to me. And then, so that happens. It's pretty funny. And then we have On the Job, which is basically Butt Frog's point of view. We had Star's point of view and Marco's, and then we have Butt Frog's point of view, which is Butt Frog just join up with Fly, I forgot his name, just the Fly guy, and some new monsters trying to get some food, trying to get something, and by the end, Star's father almost kills the monsters by accident, and he's just like, "Oops, oh well." And then Buttfrog saves them, and they know there's a hole in the wall, and it's all because of Toffee. Oh my goodness. And it's kind of funny. It's funny-ish. And I gotta say, man, the humans treat the monsters pretty badly. But yeah, anyways, it's a pretty good episode. And episode 7. Star versus the Forces of Evil, Season 2, Episode 7, Goblin Dogs and By the Book. So let's go with Goblin Dogs first. It's a pretty average episode. It's basically Marco with Ponyhead, Kelly, and Star. And we've seen Kelly before. I'm pretty sure we have, at least briefly in an episode, I think. Maybe. I don't actually remember. But in this episode, we see her for more longer, and she's kind of weird at first, but at the end, she shows that she's actually can talk and stuff. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, we actually see that she can talk and stuff, and we all know that Kelly, and later on, becomes more integral, kind of, sort of. It never really leads up to anything, but kind of, sort of. But yeah, they're all waiting in line for Goblin Dogs, and at the end, I guess the Goblin Dog chooses you, and it tastes like a normal hot dog, but it makes you trip out because it's laced with drugs, Goblin drugs. I don't know, actually. But it's just pretty funny, but pretty average. And then there is By the Book. And By the Book is pretty interesting, but also pretty average at the same time. It's all about Gloucester trying to teach Star. Star's too lazy to do it because Star's lazy. At the end, she does it because she doesn't want to be lazy anymore. And we meet Ludo and Star meet, and they know they have wands now. Star knows he has a wand, he knows she has a wand. And I'm pretty sure she'll probably tell her mom or something like that eventually. But yeah, it's just a little interesting thing there. They know they have wands now. And now Ludo knows that she has a book, and he is starting to talk to the wand. And we all know why he's starting to talk to the wand, because of Toffee. Anyways, it's a pretty average episode. So on to episode 8. Star versus the Forces of Evil, Season 2, Episode 8, Game of Flags, and Girls something out. I forgot the title. Girls Day Out? Is it Day Out? I think it's Girls Day Out. Let's go with the Flags. Game of Flags. So this Game of Flags is kind of like King of the Hill, except more violent. And with flags, because you stick your flag into the top, you win. It's a pretty cool game, actually. If I had a choice, I'd probably play it, because I've played King of the Hill, and I've also played pretty violent King of the Hill, where you push each other down the hill, or just basically got into fights over who was the King of the Hill. It's always fun. It's never fun when you get hurt, but it's always fun to do it. Where you get thrown and you basically land on your back on the ground, you can't breathe. It hurts. But when you get back up and you tackle the guy that did you, it's fun. So yeah, I totally play that game. And then it had this scene where Star's sitting at the kids' table and everybody's sitting at the adults' table. To be honest, I've never actually been to a place where I had to sit on a kids' table. The only places I've been to, I've got to sit with everybody else because there wasn't that much people there, obviously. So I've never actually been to a place where I had to sit at the kids' table. And even if I did go to a place where I had to sit at the kids' table, I might sit at the kids' table, to be honest. Not because I'm a child, obviously, because I'm an adult. But to be honest, I just don't like talking to my relatives. The kids don't usually have much to say, so I'm totally fine with this because now I don't have to talk to all those guys over there because my relatives kind of annoy me. So yeah, So pretty good little episode. And then there is Girls Day Out, I think. Basically, Star gets detention for trying to release a hamster because she's bored. Marco gets involved in it. It's a little slight plot line there where Marco gets his hand stuck trying to save the hamster. His teacher comes and she calls the fire department, I guess. And the fire department comes there and, like, holy crap, the teacher is a horrible teacher and the fire department is really stupid. It's like, is that dangerous? Oh, I'll be fine. It's like, I'm not talking about you, idiot. I'm talking about me. I feel so sorry for Marco. And then he has this thing stuck on his hand. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have stuck your hand in the first place, to be honest, but, people do stupid things. I'll be honest, I've gotten some body parts stuck in some things, including my hand. I've got my hand stuck in something before. But I was a dumb kid. I guess Marco's a dumb kid too, so he gets a pass. And then Star is in detention, and she has to do detention duty, I guess, and she's like the detention mayor or something. And by the end, she does everything, and it's kind of gross. One thing, she gives gum to a kid, and it's already chewed gum, so it's gross. But at the end, she has to get batteries, and she doesn't just poof them into existence like she usually does. That's kind of weird. Maybe she can't poof batteries into existence. I don't know. But yeah, pretty good episode. On to episode 9. Star versus the Forces of Evil, Season 2, Episode 9. Sleepover and Gift of the Card, I think it is. So, let's go with Sleepover first. This one was a pretty funny episode, pretty interesting. And I gotta say, Marco, you are embarrassing yourself like crazy. But at the end, you did act like a man, and I commend you on that. Personally, my thoughts, if you have a crush on somebody, I always say that you should just go right out and say it. Don't wait, because if you do wait, that person could start dating somebody else, or something like that could happen. But the worst that can happen if you do tell them that you like them is that they'll reject you. That's the worst that can happen, and you can always move away. You can always move from that, Because there's plenty of people, plenty of fish in the sea, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you like somebody, tell them. Trust me, it'll make you feel better. Even if it makes you feel a little bit crappy at first, it'll eventually make you feel better. You don't want to procrastinate on that. But yeah, it's a pretty cool episode. It basically this box, we see it in Season 3 as well for the trial. It basically makes you tell the truth, even though sometimes the truth isn't the truth because there's black and there's like gray areas, It's not just black and white, there's gray areas in between. And that's what Star is trying to say at the end, so it's pretty cool. And at the end, she also said that she likes Marco. It's just proving that she has a crush on Marco. And then in Season 3, she's dating Tom, so I wonder if her crush is coming back again, because it seemed like she was... I don't know, though. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But anyways, it was pretty cool, pretty funny. And then we have Gift of the Card. So Gift of the Card is okay. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It's just okay. Basically, Star made an idiot decision not reading the fine print. You should always read the fine print. You should always read the thing before you sign it all the time. You should never just sign something without reading it, because you might be signing away something pretty valuable. Do not make a mistake. But yeah, Star signed it, and basically it says if you don't get an item that you want, you'll die, and it's from Quest Buy, so they have every item. I'm surprised Marco didn't want any item from there, because it has every item. I mean, I would love to shop at Quest Buy. If Quest Buy was a real thing, I would go shop there. I wouldn't want a card from there, because I don't want to die or anything, especially not a Friends Forever card, because I definitely don't want to die. But I would definitely love to go shop there. And I feel Marco's pain, man. I'm the same way. Like when I have money, I'm just like, oh man, I don't know if I want this or this. Like, what, I want this, but I want this. I want this, I want this, and I want this. I guess he's just like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. I'm kind of like that. I'm just like, I don't want this, don't want this, don't want this. But there's a bunch of things that I do want. I'm just like, I want this, but then I can't get this, but I want this. So Marco, I feel your pain, man. But yeah, it's a pretty okay episode, and plus we get Heinous in it, which is pretty interesting to see. We get Heinous trying to get Marco with a bounty hunter, I think, or whatever. Um, which is surprising what she I'll talk about that in season 3. But anyways, that's the episode 9. Let's go on to episode 10. Season 3, episode 10 of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. This has 2 episodes like usual. Friend enemies or frenemies or something like that. I think it is friend enemies. And then it has my story. So let's go with friend enemies or frenemies. Basically, this one is about Tom and Marco, because Tom's still trying to get his counseling to become better without his anger issues. He has to spend like an hour, like a few minutes with the person he hates most, like an hour, half an hour, something like that, with the person he hates most, and that's Marco. Because Marco is with Star, or hangs out with Star a lot, I guess. And this is the starting of a friendship that we get to see fully fleshed, well, not fully fleshed out, but we get to see more fleshed out in season 3. So it's very interesting, but a very average episode, but it's okay. And then we have my story, which is basically Buttfrog. He finds Toffee, and he's gonna warn Star Butterfly. Even though Star Butterfly already knows he has a wand, and she never warned her parents or anything like that. Star, that's just stupid, but whatever. And, basically he's gonna warn her, and he's gonna save today, I assume. And it's kind of weird because Toffee has his own cornfield, and he's stealing from the Moomin's cornfield. I wonder why he's stealing if he has his own cornfield. And if he just spread that wealth around, he'd be more liked, but he doesn't. But it's a pretty okay episode. Now, on to episode 11. Just a reminder to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Alright, back to the video. Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Season 2, Episode 11. Hungry Larry and Spider with the Top Hat. Let's go with Hungry Larry first. Hungry Larry is a pretty okay episode. It had actually a lot of jokes in there that I thought were really funny. Basically, it's Marco's dad trying to be scary. He can't do it until the very end, where he is terrifying looking because he has a bunch of candy sticking to him. Sorry about that. But he has like a bunch of candy sticking to him, and so he looks kind of scary. Basically, Star summons a ghost with Janet, and Marco tries to pay off kids, so it's pretty funny. If I was those kids, I'd totally get scared for $600. I'm just saying, man. But yeah, so Star she summons a ghost with Janet, and this ghost eats people. And the ghost's like, nothing's scarier than a man that's lost everything, or than someone that's lost everything, you know? I can see how that's true. If someone lost everything, yeah, they can be a pretty scary person, especially if you're the one that made them lose it. I'm pretty sure they could probably kill you. Depending on the person, obviously. But yeah, it's pretty funny. And then at the end, he's just like, get out of my house, sort of thing. And the ghost is like, rude. Rude. It's just like, you tried to eat us. I wonder if that was all part of the ghost's plan. I don't think it was. But if it was, then yes, I agree he was rude. But if it wasn't, then no, he's not rude. You're trying to eat us. And then Spider with the Top Hat. This episode, it was kind of average, but okay. It showed the life of Spider with the Top Hat and all the other creatures inside the wand. Kind of reminds me of Pokemon, to be honest, because, you know, they go back into the wand just like Pokemon go back into the Pokeball. Even though I'm pretty sure Star has more spells than that, so I don't know where all those spells are, and I don't know how the hell they all fit in that one place, but whatever, I guess, cartoon logic. But it's okay, and then at the end, Spider, he proves himself with his warrior hat. And it's pretty cool. And they're facing a giant werewolf or a wolf. And then at the end, the werewolf disappears. I really don't know what that whole sequence was. I really love to see how that actually happened, although we probably never will. I definitely want to see how they got into a fight with a giant werewolf that can magically disappear and all the damage with it will disappear. Very interesting to see that. Anyways, episode 12. Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Season 2, episode 12. Into the Wand and Pizza Thing. So first, let's do Into the Wand. Into the Wand, it was interesting. Very interesting. Star got to go into her wand, which is basically a representation of her mind sort of thing. It's like a representation of her mind and like memories and stuff like that, and she keeps on finding everything that belongs until she finds Toffee's finger. And we all know where that leads if you watched it. So it's pretty interesting to see that, and it's just interesting in general, I guess. And she has to go through Collateral's eye to get out, which is gross. And also she Narwhal Blast Marco, so a little mean there, Star, but I guess she still thought she was in the wand, probably, because that happened a bunch of times. I wonder if Marco does that frequently. If she remembers that so much. But yeah, it's an okay episode. It's not really too funny. There are some funny jokes here and there, but it's a more serious episode, and we get to have a little bit more backstory on the queens, so it's pretty interesting. And we get to hear about her mother and how she fought Toffee, and also Queen Moon, or what's her name? I forgot her name, but Moon or something. She's not. I guess no. That's Star's mom. What's her name? I forgot, the one that married the monster. That was pretty interesting too. And then we have Pizza Thing. So Pizza Thing is a Ponyhead episode, a Marco and Ponyhead episode, which you usually don't see because Marco and Ponyhead don't really like each other that much. I mean, hell, even Tom likes Marco more than Ponyhead does. At least so far in the series, I think. Maybe they're warming up to each other a little bit. But yeah, Tom likes Marco more than Ponyhead does. So it's pretty funny. And this whole episode, Ponyhead goes on a journey with Marco through the town. A little bit of shenanigans ensues. They have a little bit of a party. They steal a car. The car goes back to its owner because Marco doesn't want to go to jail. And then he has to give the guy $650 to give him a ride to the pizza place. And then Marco does something that's a little bit stupid. He complains about the pizza because it's missing one mushroom. To be honest, I don't really like mushroom pizza except on Canadian pizza. If you haven't tried Canadian pizza, try it. Some of the best pizza, man. Canadian, Hawaiian, pepperoni. I'm just listing off pizza I like. Meat lovers. There's a lot more. But I'm not gonna list them all off. Anyways, he kind of complains about like one of the mushrooms being missing, and the guy way overreacts. So Marco overreacts a little bit. It's a little bit stupid. It's like, Marco, come on, dude. Why did you have to do that? Like, what does it matter if you're missing one mushroom, dude? But then the guy like way overreacts 10 times more than Marco. He's just like, the president liked it all this, but Marco Diaz doesn't like my pizza. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. You're a man-child. You are a man-child. But yeah, it was pretty funny. It was okay for a Ponyhead episode, I guess. Anyways, episode 13. Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Season 2, episode 13. Paper Turner, or Page Turner and Naysayer. So, Page Turner. This is an episode where we first meet the Council of Magic. Hekapoo, Diamond guy with snakes in his arms, I forgot his name. Goat guy, and the time space guy. He's like space and time, I guess. And Glossaric, I gotta say, pretty badass, man. He kicked his ass pretty bad. And I'm pretty sure if they all would have joined in, he probably would have been able to kick all their asses, including Moon's probably. So Glossrick, pretty strong and badass magic guy. And it's all because Moon wanted to talk to Glossrick and say, like, I want to know how Star's train's doing. Like, you gotta ramp up her training and stuff like that. Telling him that there's a disturbance in magic, and we all know who that is. Although she still doesn't know that Ludo has a wand, and it's controlled by Toffee. She's gotta learn that sometime. And Star doesn't know that, by the way. And Buttfart hasn't told her yet. But yeah, it's a pretty good episode. And plus, this episode has another part where people say that's one of the reasons Marco's gonna go evil, is because he got overrun by evil magic. As soon as he read that evil magic, he got overrun by it and somehow turned evil magic-y. Very interesting to see that he can do that, even though he doesn't have a wand. So just by reading something like that, he can just have that power. So that's something to say about Marco. I would really like to see that, though. But, then we have Page Turner, and then we have the Naysayer. So Naysayer is an interesting episode. Not the best, not the worst. Marco tries to act out Jackie, and it turns out Tom put a curse on him because he thought he was going to act out Star. I don't think it would have changed it if he asked out Star. I think she would have still accepted. And it seems like Jackie did the same thing. So yeah, Marco has a naysayer on his neck, and it just basically blurts out the truth. Which would be horrible for pretty much everybody, because no one wants to let the world know their biggest, darkest secrets. And, I don't know, man. It's weird what he says, man. Like, he kisses, like, images of Jackie and stuff. It's weird, man. I'd be a little bit creeped out if I was her, but I'd be like, okay, I understand. But yeah, this is a pretty funny episode and stuff. And, at the end, Janet, I think her name is right. She's just like, she's like, if you get divorced, you know who to call. I think she semi-likes Marco, you know. But who knows, man. Pretty funny episode, though. Episode 14. Star vs. the Force of Evil, Season 2, Episode 14, if I'm not mistaken. Bonbon, the Birthday Clown. This episode, ooh boy, this episode. Very interesting, to say the least. A couple things in there that we have to talk about. First, let's talk about Marco and Jackie. They're going on a date. It goes pretty well. Marco gets to kiss her at the end, and we know they go boyfriend girlfriend style after this. And at the last part of that date, Marco sees the red moon. And a lot of people, or the blood moon, sorry. And a lot of people think, like, oh, that means, like, his soul and Star's soul are connected. Some have said, like, oh, maybe it's a curse or something like that. What is it? I don't know, man. Was the moon telling him that Star was in trouble? Or was the moon saying, like, you can't be doing that. You and Star are connected, and you guys are always going to be connected, sort of thing. That's a question. Is it a curse, or is it something good? And then we have Star, and she's going to summon a moon monkey. She's going to summon a birthday clown. Sorry, not a moon monkey. I don't know where they got moon monkey from. A birthday clown, with Janet and Glossrick. And I gotta say something about Glossrick, man. Glossrick is confusing as all fuck. Pardon my language. But no, like, first he's just like, oh, I served the butterfly family. And then he's just like, in this episode, he's just like, oh, I serve you now because you own the book, even though Marco has had the book before, and yet he never even did anything to Marco. But I guess Marco didn't own the book, but now that Ludo owns the book, he serves him? Like, what? And then at the end, in Season 3, he serves the person that has the wand. What is your deal, Glossrick? Who do you serve, man? Jesus Christ, pick a side already. Do you serve the butterfly family, the book, or the wand? Very confusing. And then we see Star do something pretty bad in this episode. She spies on Marco with a dark magic spell, and that spell comes back in season 3 in a way better way than this one. Sorry to say, but it is. But yeah, we see her use the spells to spy on Marco and Janet. Marco is no, wait, not Janet. Sorry, Marco and I forgot her name. Man, I'm really bad with names. But she spies on them and she gets angry. We see the jealousy, man. We see the jealousy. This is why I always say, if you like somebody, just ask them out. The worst that can happen is that you get rejected, but you'll feel better. Trust me, you will, okay? But yeah, she just had to ask him out and he would have either said yes or no. And this wouldn't have happened. I mean, it might have happened because he might have rejected her and she might have still got angry, but, you know, it wouldn't have happened to this extent. But yeah, she sees that and she gets a little bit jealous, and it's just a cool little thing. But yeah, man, she definitely likes him. And man, all I gotta say is those awkward moments when you're a teenager and you're on a date, man. It's awkward. But yeah, anyways, that's this episode. Let's go on to episode 15 if I'm not mistaken. If I am, it's episode 16. I think it's 15 though. Star versus the Force of Evil, Season 2, Episode 15. Raid the Cave and Trick Star. So, Raid the Cave. This is a response to last episode, where Star tries to get Glossric back, but he says that he's bound to the book, even though in the first place he said that he's bound to the Butterfly family, and then when the book gets destroyed, he's like, I'm bound to the wand. He's a very confusing character, dude. And I don't know, maybe this is all part of Star's train. I'm not sure. And if I was Star and he said that to me, I'd be like, okay, I'll just grab the book then. I'd reach for the book instead of Glossric. It's just like, he stole the book, I steal it back, it becomes mine again, right? So, that's what I would have done, but she didn't think of that, I guess. Kind of dumb, but whatever. And maybe she couldn't have grabbed it in the first place because she only had one hand in there, and the book's kind of gigantic and heavy. But yeah, I would have done something like that. And plus, she did something that no one ever has done. She used the wishing spell as almost like a portal. Almost like Dimensional Scissors, but not like Dimensional Scissors. So that was pretty cool to see. Glossric was like, that's the first time I've ever seen that. So that means Star is a little bit special. Not even Eclipsa did that. And then, it was a pretty good episode. And then, we have Trick Star. A lot of people dislike this episode, and a lot of people say that the fake magician that sucks out people's happiness in this is like, it's like one of the horriblest things, and it's a garbage episode, and just they hate it for some reason. To be honest, I think it's just like an average episode. It's just like, it's like a meh episode. It has some funny jokes here and there, but for the most part, it's just kind of meh. I don't necessarily hate it. I don't understand why people don't like this episode so much and hate that character so much. But whatever. It's just kind of just like, eh. And he's like a joy sucker. He sucks out joy. I don't think he sucks it out permanently. I think he can still feel joy eventually, but he just kind of sucks it out. But yeah, he seems like he's harmless. Unless he sucks it out permanently, then he's not harmless. But then again, I kind of agree with Star at the same time, because who doesn't love to be right? But yeah, it was okay. It was an okay episode. It wasn't like the most hated episode in my opinion. And there was one part in there that I thought was really funny, where Mark was just like, yeah, magic's fake, just like love is. That was hilarious. Marco, savage, man, savage. But anyways, on to episode 16. Star versus the Force of Evil. Season 2, episode 16. Baby and Running with Scissors. So first off, Baby. Baby is an interesting episode. It basically gives Star an evaluation on her magic, and it turns out that she's much more advanced than Moon, and the only person that she's seen like that was Eclipsa. Even though I think she's much more advanced than Eclipsa because she was able to break between the seeing eye spell. So yeah, she's a very special princess as we're learning so far. Um, so yes, a very interesting episode, very good episode. But it's just kind of average, to be honest. Um, it's good, but it's average. It shows us some hints and stuff, but it's just kind of meh. And then there's Running with Scissors, one of my favorite episodes, to be honest, or part episode. This one is where Marco meets Hekapoo, and he has to get Scissors back. So he spent 16 years, and I think he's 14. So 14 plus 16. 30, right? Yeah, 30. About 30, I think. So he's about 30 years old now. So yeah, he meets Hekapoo. He has to get Star Scissors back, and at the end, he earns his own pair of scissors. And it's very cool and very awesome. Couple things about this episode I don't really like. First off, I don't really like the fact that he chose so easily that he was going to go back with Star. I get that he went back with her because it's a show, and it's just like, obviously he's going to pick his family and his parents and stuff and Star. But I kind of get is that really true? 16 years away from everybody, and you have such an awesome life now, and then you're just like, yeah, I'll go back to my old life. Kind of boring, but I'll go back to it. Kind of a little bit weird. And then there's another part where... Oh, wait, no, let me think. Oh, yeah, the other part is that this doesn't really affect him in, real life as much as it should, in my opinion. We get to see it a little bit more in Season 3, especially by the end, but we don't get to see this really affecting him much. And plus, am I the only one that thinks it's kind of perverted that he's like a 30-year-old man, and yet he still goes after, that girl, I forgot her name, sorry, and also Star at the end? Am I the only one that thinks that's a little bit perverted? They're 14, and you're 30, dude. I know you're not physically 30, but you're mentally 30. Or maybe when he goes back to Earth, his mind turns back to a 14-year-old. So maybe it's you can let it slide. But I'm just saying, that's a little bit creepy. A little bit creepy that you're going after 14-year-olds when you're 30. But whatever, I guess. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about. There was this one thing I saw on Google Images as I was looking up images and stuff for the thumbnails. I saw a thing where I saw Marco's and Hekapoo's baby just come and basically say "Oh, hey, Dad." She comes to the Earth when she's their age, when she's Marco's and Star's age, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Dad," and he's just "Oh, what the hell are you talking about?" So I was and I was thinking, after I saw that fan art, I was just that would be hilarious to see in the show. I know they would never do that because it's a kid's show and they don't want to go that deep, I guess. But if this is a more adult-themed show, I would love to see that in the show because that would put so much drama and just so much extra stuff that we could do. Oh, Hekapoo, she's my mom, you're my dad. It's just you didn't raise me for 14 years. It would be just hilarious. I'm sorry to say, but that would just be hilarious. I'm really sad that they never did that. Because that would be freaking hilarious to see. Just her popping up and be "Hey, Dad!" And then just having to deal with the consequences of that. And maybe having some cool actions and stuff. And I'm sure Star would get pissed off, and so would Jackie. That's her name, Jackie. But yeah, it'd be hilarious just to see that. And Marco's parents would be "What? We have a granddaughter?" Or a grandson? It'd be freaking hilarious. But anyways, episode 17. Star versus the Force of Evil, Season 2, Episode 17. Math Magic, I think, and the Bounce Lounge? Or something like that. The episode's about the Bounce Lounge. But anyways, Math Magic. This episode is pretty interesting. It shows a thing where there's a bunch of different realities. It shows space-time, which is kind of weird because space-time is just normal time. At least I'm pretty sure it is, but whatever, I guess. But it shows where it has a bunch of different realities. And it was pretty interesting. There's a few in there. There was like a star that she was a demon. There was a star where she looked like her mom. There was a cat star. There was a donut star. And I saw them and I thought they were pretty cool. And we only saw one mark. We only saw like a couple Marcos. There's one with lots of heads. There's one with a hair on his chin. Um, I think it'd be super cool to check out these different realities. But sadly, we never do that. Maybe in season 4 we get to check out a couple of them. I don't think we will, but that'd be pretty cool to see these all these infinite different reality sort of things. Kind of like Rick and Morty, but with Star Butterfly and Marco. I just want to see different reality versions of Marco and Star. There was like one where she was a boy, and there was other ones. So like I want to go to those realities. That means Marco's a girl, and that means Marco's a thing too, and like a whole bunch of things. I bet you there's even one where he's evil. But yeah, it's a pretty cool episode. And then there's like, the Bounce Sound. If I'm not, I think that's the title name. I don't remember the title name actually. It's about the Bounce Sounds. The Bounce Sounds is closing because the owner of it is old and she wants to stop partying. Um, but yeah, it's just closing. She wants to stop partying. She tells him it's because of the mortgage, but she's lying. And then at the end, they destroy the place. They only get a few mementos, but Ponyhead gets the photo booth that they all take photos in. It's a pretty good episode, but pretty average at the same time. But yeah, that's episode 17. So let's go on to episode 18. Star versus the Forces of Evil, Season 2, Episode 18, Crystal Clear, and The Hard Way. So Crystal Clear, it's an okay episode. It basically shows, I forgot his name, so I'm just going to call him Timeout Guy. It shows him, and he kidnaps Star, and also Marco. And then there's this whole thing where he just keeps on freezing people. It's kind of like almost like something where like you keep on murdering people, and you're just like, oh my god, what did I do? That's what he was kind of like. It's kind of funny. Just a little thing that I thought was pretty funny like that. They have tea on top of Marco, which is pretty funny. But yeah, it's pretty good. And Star doesn't turn him in because she's Star. She's nice. And the goat guy doesn't turn him in because he's a goat guy and he can't really turn him in. And we see all these monsters and stuff that he's crystallized, and half of them are probably innocent and the other half might be evil because he relies on his gut. And we also see Eclipsa. Just for a brief second, it's pretty funny, but we see her. I think that's her name, right? Eclipsa? Is it? I think. But yeah, we see all that stuff. It's pretty funny. And at the end, he unfreezes Marco and he sends them back. And it's all due to cereal. And Star feeds Marco some cereal off the ground. It was gross. Okay, so then the hard way. So this is where Ludo is talking to Ludo is talking to Glossaric. Why was I saying not Glossaric? It is Glossaric. Ludo's talking to Glossaric. And man, do I gotta say, Ludo has some family issues. Some daddy issues in particular. Because he makes Glossaric pretty much treat him like he's his son, almost. And tell him that he's proud and stuff. And then by the end, we see Toffee. This is a big reveal. We see Toffee. If you watched this before, you know that this was a big reveal, but, you know, we see him. Or we hear him, I guess. We don't see him, technically. And we realize that he's in the magic world, and for somehow he can talk through the evil pages. I wonder if Marco did it again. Would he be able to talk through Marco? But anyways, that was episode 18. Episode 19. Star versus the Forces of Evil, Season 2, Episode 19. Heinous and all belts are off. First off, Heinous. This was a pretty good episode. Pretty funny. It shows the Heinous Marco dynamic of Heinous hating him and Marco trying to defeat her, or just trying to stop her from doing anything bad, I guess. It's pretty funny that Marco has his own arch nemesis and Star doesn't really anymore, I guess. She used to, but now she really doesn't, but Marco still does. Pretty funny. And we all know where Heinous leads up to. But yeah, it's a pretty funny episode, pretty good. And just enjoyable. Just enjoyable. And then there is all belts are off, or all belts are off. Yeah, I think that's it, right? All belts are off. This episode lackluster, kind of lame, kind of boring. There was only really one good thing in this episode, and that was when Star and Marco had conversation, and Star is just like, Marco's just like, oh, I'm spying on this guy, like I'm taking pictures of this guy, like showing what he's doing bad things, and Star's just like, oh, so you're a creep, and she took a long time to say it. You think like she's gonna say, oh, so you're a spy, but she said you're a creep. It's pretty funny. That's probably the only funny part about this episode, to be honest. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Episode 20. Star versus the Force of Evil, Season 2, Episode 20. Collateral Damage and Just Friends. So, Collateral Damage is basically about Star, how she's feeling. She's feeling like she basically lost everything. And she kind of did, except for maybe the wand, although she lost half of the wand, I guess. But yes, it's all about Star and how she feels bad for herself. And then everybody else starts feeling bad for themselves. And the career counselor came back for some reason. I don't know why he did, but he did. Whatever, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting little episode. And it's just okay, though. You know, it's pretty interesting. And then we have Just Friends. And this is the episode where Marco and Jackie kiss a second time. And also, Star is put into the friend zone. And, don't know if you know how that feels. That's a shitty feeling. Being put into the friend zone is a shitty ass feeling. Especially if you have, like, feelings for the other person. It's just like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. Now I get to be your friend, yay. If that happens, it sucks to be you, but, you know, this is why I say, if you like someone, just tell them. Tell them before anybody else can ask them out. The worst that can happen is they reject you. But then you can move on with your life, and you can actually be friends with that person without being like, what could have been sort of thing. But yeah, it's really interesting. And it's really sad at the same time. You're just like, poor Star. Poor Star. At first you're kind of left like, oh, Marco's kind of down. But then you're like, but Star, you're going to feel much worse than Marco does. And plus she's like a third wheel on a date between the two of them. Ooh. That's also a shitty feeling. Being the third wheel on a date. If you're on the date, you feel like you're kind of just like, get out of here now, you can leave. But if you are the third person, you're just kind of just like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm not wanted here. So, yeah, it's kind of awkward, kind of sucky, but whatever. And that must suck 10 times worse if it's the guy that you like, or girl that you like. So, yeah, that must suck 10 times worse for Star. But, interesting episode, very good episode. Anyways, episode 21. Star versus the Force of Evil, Season 2, Episode 21. Only one episode to go until Season 3, and then I gotta do the Season 3. I will do that hopefully before Season 4. But anyways, 21. This episode is Face the Music, I'm pretty sure the name is. It's a one episode. And it is interesting, to say the least. But also really average at the same time. The first part's kind of slow. It's just basically Star having to sing a song. And then there's a second narrative of Moon going to see where, Ludo is. And then she realizes that he has a wand. Or a wand, I guess. She realized that he has a wand. I don't know why I said, she realized that he has a wand. When he has a wand. Never mind. So she realizes that he's a wand, and then she goes to get her stuff to fight him. But before she does that, she has to go to Star's song rehearsal. And there's only two people that know it. Marco, well, there's a few people. Marco, Star's parents, and also the diamond guy, who's no help. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't know nothing about this. He doesn't say that, but he says it kind of guiltily. He's just like, when he talks, he's just like, oh yeah, that's bad. What the goat said, bad. We all know that he knows. So yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, like there's a whole song, and for some reason, Star told the songwriter about Glossric, which is stupid because she thought the people would want to hear that. I guess I don't know. It's just kind of dumb. And then at the end, it tells Star and Marco that Star loves Marco. It's pretty funny and pretty awkward, and Star runs away from her problems again. Pretty funny, but pretty awkward at the same time. And that leads us into the last episode, 22. Star versus the Forces of Evil, Season 2, final episode 22. We're finally done Season 2. Now to move on to Season 3. But anyways, this episode, Star Crushed. This episode leads into the events of Season 3, at least the first 4 episodes, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. It's basically Moon. Let's talk about the Moon plotline first. Moon going to see Toffee or Ludo, sorry? Yeah, Ludo. And then he turns into Toffee, and he basically sucks out the souls of all the High Commissioners, all the High Council members. And, I wonder why that's a occurring thing with all the villains. Meteora, Toffee. They just always suck souls out. It's kind of weird. But yeah, he, sucks out the soul of them, and then Moon has to go get Star. She gets Star, and basically they're gonna run and hide. And it's a pretty interesting episode, and in this episode, we get Star admitting to Marco that she has a crush on him, and that's it. She admits that she has a crush, and then she runs away, and Marco just sits there silently, because that's a lot to take in, man. I feel for you, Marco. It's just like, oh, you like me? It's like, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? That's what was going through his head. It's pretty cool. But anyways, this episode, pretty good. Pretty good plot line, and then it leads into Season 3. I'm just doing these quick, by the way. I'm not doing, full reviews on these, pretty much. I just want to get these out quick. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. Pretty good episode, and it leads right into the events of Season 3. What shall we cover? Hopefully, probably next week, I would assume. Starting Monday. I don't know, when next week. Maybe, Monday. Probably not Monday. Tuesday? Probably not Tuesday. I don't know. Someday. Not Sunday. I didn't say Sunday. I said someday. Hopefully in next week's time period, though. But anyways, that's the end of Season 2. Now on to Season 3. If you like this review, I hope you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. As always, my friends, stay sane. Peace. Hey guys, D-Man here. Just saying, hope you liked this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and all that nonsense. But anyways, I hope you have a good day, because, the video's over. And I hope you watch more videos. Go ahead and click these videos, or click subscribe, See ya.